Alright, welcome everyone. My name is Summer, and today I'm going to walk you through the creation of a simple LLM app using LangChain, OpenAI, and Streamlit. So to get started, a couple of prerequisites I want to discuss. In order to do this, you're going to have a knowledge of Python, probably like an intermediate knowledge of Python. You're also going to need an IDE. I'm using VS Code today. You can use whichever one you prefer. Then you're also going to need an OpenAI account and access to an OpenAI API key. So, once you've got those things, we can get started. First thing I'm going to do is create a virtual environment. So, start that by installing virtual env. I'm working on a map, so I use pip3 a lot. So, pip3 install virtual env. And then to create the environment, I'm going to say python 3-m env. And then I'm going to name my environment LangChain. I'm just going to say yes here. And then to activate the environment on a Mac, what you have to do is source your environment name. So I just named it LangChain. And then /bin/activate. So you can see here it has been activated. So I'm going to clear the terminal here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add the libraries I need to install here into the requirements.txt document. So the libraries I need are going to be LangChain -OpenAI, Python.env. I think I actually need OpenAI too. There's definitely dash in here. Python-.env, Streamlit, and ice cream. Ice cream is optional. I use ice cream instead of print statements. But if you just prefer to use the standard print statements in Python, you don't need that. So to go ahead and install these libraries, what I'm going to do here is pip install -r. and requirements.txt. So that's going to install all of the libraries that we need. And so once that's done, we can get started. I want to talk about the two Python files I have here. I like to separate it out. So the app.py file is what I'm going to use. It's going to be where we have all of the Streamlit code for the front end. And then the LLM helper is going to be sort of the back end code we have for the actual LLM functionality. So we're going to start off by developing that. So let's open the LLM helper file. And what we're going to do is first we're going to start off setting up the OpenAI API key. So we're going to need that, but first we're going to need to import .env. So from .env, one of the libraries we installed, we're going to import load.env. We're going to need to set up a .env file, so just a file, it's called .env. And here we're going to have a variable called OpenAI API key. Here you're going to enter your API key. It's going to be like sk-something. I'm going to copy mine over here. Copy mine, and that's that. So once you've done that, just call the load.env function, and that API key is all set up. So the next thing we want to do is get started on testing the functionality. So first what we want to do is just test that we're connecting to OpenAI as we expect. So what we're going to do here is from LangChain OpenAI, we're going to import OpenAI. And then I'm also just going to do from ice cream, import IC. Again, if you just want to use print statements, you don't have to do that. And just to test this out, we're going to set up a new LLM, which is going to be that OpenAI function that we just imported. We're going to set up a simple prompt here. So I've got a prompt here. I'm just going to copy in. This is my easy prompt. I love testing with Grey's Anatomy, so this is going to be the prompt. And then, so what we want to return, we're going to say result equals llm.invoke, and then my prompt is going to be the input there. And then we're just going to print this, or you can use ice cream like me, and then we're going to print the results. So let's check to see if that's working. And what is wrong here? So I had an error there. I had inputted the wrong API key into my .env file. Now that I put the correct API key in, you can see that's working. In the terminal, you can see it's returned 5 characters from Grey's Anatomy as expected. So we're connecting to OpenAI, and it's providing us results. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use prompt templates and chains, which are LangChain functions. So in order to do that, we're going to add a couple more imports. So we're going to say from LangChain.prompts, import prompt template, and then from LangChain.chains, import LMChain. LMChain, like that. So those are the 2 new items we have. Also at this point, I'm just going to set up a function to make it a little bit easier. So I'm going to call the function generate response here. And I'm just going to indent everything so it's part of the function. And here we can get started. So I'm going to input a second prompt here. It's a little bit more detailed. So in this new prompt, we're actually going to take an input from the user. So the function is going to take an input, which is going to be a character name. So basically this is saying that the LLM is going to take the character name and create a brief summary of the character. So here's where we're going to use prompt templates so that we can take the user input. So to do this, we're going to set up a new variable called myPromptTemplate. And that is going to be a prompt template like that. This is going to take a variable called input variables, and in here it's going to be an array, and right now there's only one item in the array, which is going to be the name that we're taking. And then the second item we have here is just going to be the template that the prompt template is going to use, which is going to be the prompt. So here we've got my prompt 2 is going to be the prompt we want this template to leverage. So those are the 2 things that the prompt template needs. Now we're going to set up the chain. So I'm going to call the chain my chain. Very creative. This is going to be the LLM chain object here. And this takes 3 inputs. So we need the LLM. So LLM is LLM, which we set up earlier here, which is just going to be the OpenAI. Second is going to be the prompt template, which is going to be called prompt here. So it's going to use my prompt template as the input here. And third, it's going to be an output key. The output key is going to make it, once we set the front end, it's going to make it readable. So the output key can be anything you want. I'm just going to call it a character summary because that's what the prompt is asking for. So now that we have all that set up, let's just test that it's working as expected. So I'm going to comment out our old result and actually just remove that. And the new result is going to equal to that chain we just set up, which is called myChain.invoke. And we are just going to give it the input of the name, which is a variable it needs. And the name is going to be character. So what we're just saying is that the name we're asking for here is going to come from the input to the function, which we called character. So that hopefully should work. So let's just call, I'm going to use IC, you can use print if you want. And I'm just going to call the function, generate response, and give it a character name. Let's see what it's got to say about Georgie. So let's run that. Another error. I spelled prompt wrong. And then also, I didn't have the function return anything. So yeah, you just gotta have it to return the result there. So now, hopefully, this works, and it does. So you can see that it is returning a summary of George here, and it is working. So now that we have all that set up, we're going to set up the front end using Streamlit. So for this, I'm going to go to our other file called app.py. So in this file, we're going to use Streamlit. So we're going to import Streamlit as st. Wow, what happened there? As st. Why does this keep happening? And then we're going to also import the function we just created from the LLM helper file. So we're going to say from LLM helper. I didn't realize I put 3 L's in there. That's weird, but as long as we have the right file name, we're going to say from LLM helper import generate response, which is the name of function we just created. So we can use it here. So to set up Streamlit, we're going to start by just like creating a title for our app. Let's just going to say, let's use double quotes here because I'm going to say Gray's summary generator. So that'll be our title. Then we're going to have an input box. So here we're going to say character equals, and then we're going to use st.text input here, where you can have the user's input data. So for the label, I'm going to say enter character name. And then I'm just going to add a placeholder as well. Placeholder is going to say Meredith Gray as an example there. So that's that. And then we're going to create a button. I'm going to call the button generate. And that's going to be st.button. And here, the button label is going to say generate. And the type, I'm going to use primary. This just changes the color of the button. I like it this way. So that's how we're going to set up the button. And then next, we are going to call our function. So when do we want to call the function? Once the user has entered a character name and push the button. So we're going to say if character exists and generate exists, then we want to run our function. So we're going to set it to a variable called response, and then generate response, and then we're going to input character, which is the input that the users are putting in. And then we're going to write that to the screen. So st.write response. And here's where that output key comes in. So that output key that we set up here in the chain, character summary, we're just going to put this here into the response. And that's just going to make sure it looks nice when it comes out to the screen. So that should be all set up. In order to, let me clear the terminal. In order to run a Streamlit app, you say Streamlit run, and then my file I want to run is called app.py. So that's what I'm going to put in here. It's going to run here. And here is the app. And here it's working. So here you can enter a character name. I'm going to just go Christina Yang and select the button generate. It's running. And here we have our summary of Christina. Top cardio surgeon. I think that this is pretty accurate. So we have a working app. One thing I did notice when I was testing this earlier is that it will hallucinate. So if I come in here and I put Kyle is no significant character in Grace, if ever, and it's like generate, it will make up some stuff. I don't remember any surgical resident named Kyle in season 12. So I think he's making it up. In order to avoid this, another option we have is instead of using the user input here for the character name, we can use a select box. So I'm just going to copy and paste it here. This is what it would be if we wanted a select box, st.select. This is the label, same select character, and then just have a list of a bunch of Grace characters. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to comment out this initial character variable and set it to the select box. Save the file. And then if you go back to the app here, I'm going to push R. That should refresh the app. And now you have a select box. So the user can only select from these characters. So let's just see what it's got to say about Lexi. Generate. And now it's limited to only characters that you can be confident that OpenAI actually knows about, and it won't hallucinate random things. So this is how you create a nice simple LLM app using LangChain and OpenAI. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or anything you would like to see me talk about in the future, leave a comment below. That's it. Bye.